I know why you're here. You're here to learn how to do this voice. And I'm here to show you how to do that voice. So if you want to know, go ahead and watch the rest of this video. So first things first is you're going to need to download Dark Audacity or normal Audacity. You can do this from the links in the description below. Go ahead and head to their websites, download it, install it, and make sure you know where you install it at. That file path, you're going to need to know it, because that's going to play into the other steps of this tutorial. So when you download it, you need to make sure that you have either a Dark Audacity file or an Audacity file in your programs files, either x86 or normal programs files. So if you don't have an Audacity folder, one solution is that you didn't send Dark Audacity or Audacity to a place that it should be. It should default to going under your x86 folder for Dark Audacity. For Audacity, I've seen that it typically goes to the normal programs file without the x86. So make sure you know where it's going and make sure that you have that folder. Solution 2, for a lot of applications like Photoshop or anything that uses your computer's drivers, usually they want you to restart your PC before you start using their application to make sure that it installs properly. So if you still can't find your folder in the Dark Audacity folder, make sure that you restart your PC to see if that helps. A good restart always helps. If nothing else works, solution 3. Maybe the files just aren't made yet because you haven't used the application. So try recording something real quick, export it, and then you can just delete it afterwards. Maybe this will help the file show up. So next step in doing this voice is we need to download Effect Shifter, which is the plugin we'll be using to do the Pico voice. So to get that, you can look in the description, look under Effect Shift Google Drive link, and then from there it'll link you to my personal Google Drive. In the top right corner, go ahead and click download, and it should default to your downloads. Once it's downloaded, go find it and then select it first. Make sure you do that, that's important, because sometimes the extract all won't pop up if you don't do that. And then right click it and then click extract all. If you can't extract all, make sure to do what I do and select it first before you right click it. Solution number 2 is that you probably have something like WinRAR to help you extract files. So if you do have that, make sure you go through that application to extract those files. If nothing else works, make sure that you're an administrator for that computer or you have permissions to extract files, because sometimes the extract all feature doesn't work if you're not the administrator. I only know this because some person commented on my video that they didn't have admin permissions to install the plugin. So now that I'm saying this, please make sure that you actually have permission to be messing with the files on the computer you're on, because I don't want to see any comments saying that, oh, my kid messed with my files because he wanted to do this. Okay, so back to the main steps. Hitting extract all will bring up a window and you'll see a file path there. You don't want to use that one. We're going to click browse, and then you're going to go to your application of choices plugins folder. So if it's Audacity, you're going to go to programs files, Audacity, plugins, and then select that folder. For Dark Audacity, you're going to go to program files x86, Dark Audacity, plugins, then select that. Once you have the folder selected, your file path should look something like this. Click extract, and then you're done with that part. Now we need to fire up Dark Audacity or Audacity to enable the plugin so we can actually use it. So if you had Dark Audacity or Audacity open the whole time while you were messing with the files, make sure you close it and then restart it, just so we don't run any issues. So for both applications, you'll go to the effects drop down menu at the top, select add/remove plugins. Another window will pop up when we're going to look for the version of the plugin that you need. For Audacity, you're going to want to use the 64-bit Effect Shifter. For Dark Audacity, you're going to want to use just normal Effect Shifter without the 64. Now I'm going to tell you why it's like that. So go ahead and take a seat if you're not already sitting down, because now it's story time. So way back in the day, Audacity was a 32-bit application. This was for Windows, Linux, and Mac. And because it was 32-bit, it only worked with 32-bit VSTs. This was the case even if you ran Audacity on a 64-bit OS like Windows 10. However, I've seen over time that Audacity started to release 64-bit versions of its applications. So for a time, macOS and Linux users were the only ones with 64-bit Audacity. And that was a problem for Windows 10 because we were still 32-bit, which means we couldn't use 64-bit plugins, and we could only use 32-bit versions of plugins, which sucks because a lot of plugins are 64-bit. And then same thing for Mac and Linux users, they couldn't use 32-bit applications, which is why people are running into this problem now. So further down the road, I made the Pico and Freq Shifter tutorials way before Audacity did this. On July 26, 2021, Audacity for Windows became 64-bit. So now Windows users that use normal Audacity could use 64-bit plugins and not 32-bit ones. So this is why some of you are getting the could not load library error. So this is caused when you use the wrong bit plugin for your application. So again, going through it, if you're using base Audacity, use Freq Shifter 64. If you're using Dark Audacity, use normal Freq Shifter. And this is because base Audacity for Windows is now 64-bit, however Dark Audacity is 32-bit. So once you find your plugin that you need, go ahead and click Enable on the bottom right of that window, then click Done. Now you got everything all set up. Now we're going to set up for recording. So if you have a USB microphone, make sure that you know your microphone's recording rate. You can find this out from your manual or the website that you bought your microphone from. So I have a Razer Siren X, so which means my microphone recording rate is 48,000 Hertz. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom left hand corner in both applications and select 48,000 as my project rate. You can also use your internal microphone like if you're using a laptop, but the audio quality will not be so good. So I wouldn't use that. If I were you, I would actually use a USB microphone. Next up is to make sure that you're actually recording from your mic. So for Dark Audacity users, we're going to hit Control P inside of our application. That'll open up the preferences menu. And from there, you'll already be in the devices category. Go ahead in that category, make sure that your microphone is selected under recording device. Make sure you're recording in a mono track, I'll explain that later. And make sure your playback device is something you can hear like headphones or your speakers. For Audacity people, you can choose this from the main recording screen, just underneath all the main tools right here. So the reason why I want you guys to record in mono is because it'll make it easier for later voices down the line where we would need to actually edit the voices. And also I just like mono because it doesn't have that stereo effect. I record in mono, I record a lot of my voices in mono, so that's why I'm asking you guys to do it, because recording in stereo can change the voice a little bit. Okay, now getting into recording the actual voice. So I'm going to do this after the fact, but I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through and then I'll show it on screen what you need to do. So first you're going to need to actually record your vocals. Now once you hit record, you're going to want to be quiet for 7 seconds, and I'll explain that later, but hit record, wait 7 seconds, and then start recording your audio. So as you can see here, I've finished recording all my gibberish. So if you're very shy about your voice and it shows in your recording, then your final voice won't sound good. You need to make sure you're confident, otherwise the voice isn't going to sound good. And yes, your voice will sound as cringy as mine. Da dee dee da ba da die, ski ba boo da ba da die, da ba dee da ba da die, ski ba boo da ba da die. So after you've had a listen and made sure that you're both confident and actually said the line right, go ahead and push select on both of your tracks. You can do this in either application and add the compressor effect. So I did mess with the compressor effect to match my voice. You can do this too by experimenting with it. However, the default settings will work, so just go ahead and apply that. Now you can see that your audio is now more full. Maybe it might be peaking a little bit. If it's peaking too much, go ahead and delete that audio and then go up to the top right for Audacity and then go into the monitoring channel in Dark Audacity and then mess with your recording volume. This is how you're gonna up that peaking. I usually typically like it when my vocals are in the yellow more than the red, because once you start going into the red, then that means you're peaking a lot and that'll ruin the audio quality. Da dee dee da ba da die, ski ba boo da ba da die, da ba dee da ba da die, ski ba boo da ba da die. So if you have good sounding audio and not all of it's peaking, go ahead and apply some bass and treble EQ. For my voice, I like to do a bass boost of 3 and then a treble cut of 3. For everyone's voice, it's going to be different. So if you have a bassier voice, you might want to do a bass cut, but if you have a more high-pitched voice, you can do a treble cut. So go ahead and apply that, and then now we're going to do a pitch change. So pitch change, I like mine to be a percent change of 14. And then I'm going to play my voice clip so you know which pitch that you're going to want to aim for. So once it sounds like that, then you're good. Then you can go ahead and apply that to your audio. And then now we're going to normalize it because chances are your voice is peaking in some parts, and this will fix a lot of it. Again, this won't fix it if it's always peaking, only in some parts. So make sure that you have your recording volume set at the right level. So we're going to go to normalize, and then I did mess with this one. I have it normalized to a peak of -1. So go ahead and type in -1. That means it's going to cut back audio that's peaking to that level. And once you apply that, you can see a lot of your peaking is now cut off, which is what we want. We're going to add a distortion effect. Some people said they didn't need the distortion effect, but this time around we're going to use soft overdrive instead of medium overdrive. I used the default settings, so just go ahead and apply that, and you can see it did make our audio a bit smaller, but now it's has that grainy effect like Pico's voice does. Now we're going to finally use the Effect Shifter plugin. So with your audio selected, go find the Effect Shifter effect. For normal Audacity, you may need to scroll down that long list of effects. For dark Audacity, you'll need to go down to that secondary drop down menu, and it'll be in one of those. Then once you select it, Effect Shifter will pop up on screen in another window. And then you're going to want to set it up like this. So the LFO, you're going to want to turn that off. For the rate, you want to raise it up to 8.55. Be sure to watch that window in the bottom right to see where you're at. For your frequency range, you're going to want that at 500. Don't mess with that middle setting. And then this setting, you're going to want all the way up to wet. And then the mixer, you want that in the top setting. So once you have all that set up, we are now going to save it as a preset. To do that, we're going to go to the bottom left of the window. And then there's going to be 3 lines. Click on the 3 lines and then click on Save Preset. And then that will allow you to name it. I just named mine Pico. And then click Done. Now you have a preset to go back to with these settings. And if you find settings that work better, you can save them as a preset too. So with the settings you just put in now, go ahead and apply that to the voice, and we're going to listen to it. Hopefully your guys' sound is good as mine. If not, I hope you find a way to make it better. Pico's voice is just voice lines that are edited. There's no really pitch correction in it like the boyfriend and Chucky voice that I did. And so with that, you now know how to do Pico's voice. So thank you for watching the video. I hope all of you subscribe, and I hope I covered a lot of the issues that you guys were running into. This has been Jay Integer, and I'll see you guys later.